So I've like, where are my sales coming from? They're coming from email. And where is email coming from? It's very clearly coming from the blog. And it was also coming from bundles and collaborations. And that was my second highest source of traffic, was collaborations. So I got curious around, what if I just focus on those two things? And organizing them is a lot, but being in them is pretty simple. And you can grow your email list by 100 to even, if you're sponsoring, you can grow it to easily 500 or more people per bundle.
If you compare that to like the cost of generating, building your email list to the same amount with paid ads, I mean, depending on your niche, like in our niche, that might cost, for 100 leads, it might cost $5 to $10 per lead. You could be saving $1,000, $2,000 just by participating in this one small little thing.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer Podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now let's get to it with today's guest. Welcome, Digital Trailblazer. Super excited to have with us Alison Reeves. Alison, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and let them know what you're all about.
Yeah, I'm from AlisonReeves.co, and I am a business coach that also has a big focus on what I call mindset restorations. I've been blogging since 2011, coaching since 2017, and that's a long time in internet years. So I've done a lot of things online.
Wow. Okay. So what was your blogs like? You started with blogging and then you moved into coaching. Is it all like the same niche? Like where did you start?
It was different. I started the blog in 2011 because I was painting on acrylic and writing music and wanted to like write about my art. So it was very much not what I'm doing today, although I still do music and art. But I just wanted like a space for it. And at the time I was working for a college, and when I built my own WordPress blog, they promoted me to website administrator, which I was very unqualified for, but really thrived in. And back in those days, you were still using like on some sites HTML and CSS. So I just kind of like jumped in, and then that's kind of what unintentionally launched my marketing career. I ended up, that blog, like it kind of went up and down over the years. I tried to turn it into a magazine, but even though like I had a full-time marketing career, I didn't really understand like the nitty-gritty of monetizing just an actual blog. And then it wasn't until like 2018 when I had a post go kind of viral about how I wore the same outfit for 21 days in a row. And I was able to qualify for Mediavine, which is one of the highest paying ad providers. And then that's when I started getting more coaching clients in the entrepreneur space, because before then I was coaching in real estate, which is also another tangent. Anyway, got bored of that, started doing more coaching, and sold that blog, which was AlisonsNotebook.com. It had my name in it, and I was able to sell it in 2019.
I'm curious, like how much, if you're comfortable with it, how much does a blog potentially go for? What are the factors in that?
Yeah, I mean, usually like the average cost of a sale of a business, you're going to start with 24 times the average monthly income.
Okay.
And so it was a good amount. It was enough. It was more than my first full-time job paid me. And yeah, but I was able to get the ad revenue up. So I was getting Mediavine ad revenue. I had very little affiliate stuff, but I was an affiliate for a company that paid $250 commission. So if I got those, would just spike every now and then. And then what really helped get the average monthly income up was I had a minimalist printable binder that I was running Facebook ads to. And so I was able to kind of like boost up the average revenue and then shut it off and sell it for a price I was happy with.
So you sold that off and then?
Yeah. So like I was in, so started my marketing career and then was in like the college and then went to a real estate investing company. And so I worked in real estate investing marketing for the next 7 years. When I started coaching, it was because at the job that I had at the time, I was working with a lot of real estate investors. And the interesting thing about the real estate investors was they would, like, I felt like a lot of the top guys, like the guys who were doing like 8 figures or more, were selling education. It's like, we made a lot of money doing real estate, we're doing 7 figures, and now we're selling education. And then kind of the tipping point for me in getting into coaching was my boss, the founder of the company, asking me to consult for free for his colleagues on marketing. And I was like, this is a thing I could probably charge money for. And so that's when I felt so tired in my career of like attracting jobs at startups where I was kind of like overworked, underpaid. And I decided to get into coaching at that point. Started out doing marketing coaching for real estate agents. And then when my personal blog took off in like 2018 to 2019, that's when I just started getting like women entrepreneurs coming to me asking me to teach them how I did it. And so that was a much more comfortable niche for me than real estate, because I was never into real estate. I just was in that niche and corporate for so long.
So today, you specifically are helping, like what's your focus for helping folks today?
Yeah, online marketing consulting, mostly for solopreneurs. So I introduced services last year, which is very new. Actually started doing that after I met you, but I had done some services in like 2019 when I was doing some of this consulting. People would just ask me to run Facebook ads for them or do SEO or whatever. And when I got really busy with coaching, I just had to decide like one or the other, too much brain space. So mostly today I have the services that I run on the side, which are usually for larger companies. And then I still do coaching for solopreneurs. And that looks like a mix of business, marketing, and mindset coaching. The mindset is not what I sell, but it's what ends up getting delivered. With anyone listening to this and is an entrepreneur, it's like we want the result. We get the result in part because of all the woo-woo stuff that happens behind the scenes too. So mostly solopreneurs, work with a lot of bloggers, other service providers, which is what made me want to do services again. I know how this works. I'm helping all these people get to multiple 6 figures. Like, I would like to do services also. And mostly women, although I don't discriminate. It's just whoever talks to me, I will sell to you.
Good. That's awesome. Now, you've had quite a journey when it comes to like your email list and building. And I would like to dive into that history a little bit and kind of tell us your story of how you finally were able to really blow that up.
Yeah. It was interesting. So in 2020 is when my business really started taking off. That was my first of multiple 6-figure years consecutively. And at that time, my first 5-figure month was when in 2019, I had an audience of only 300 people and I did $14,000 in sales. And that was like $300 a month in ads, maybe less, tiny little audience. And what I noticed in the next 2 years, so because I'm a blogger, like after I sold my previous blog, I was like, well, I need to blog for my coaching business too. So I blogged very half for the next 2 years, maybe once every other month, just like transcribing a training video here and there. And after that half effort for 2 years, my traffic went from being mostly Facebook to mostly from Google, which was so interesting for me. And of course, the Facebook traffic was Facebook groups, organic marketing, and then paid ads. And so with the little effort I was doing with blogging, it only took 2 years for that traffic to supersede. And then, of course, like most of my leads were coming from my blog because I have a pop-up that comes up. So when I was looking at, every year I'm not like really into the details and the data. It's like not my strong skill set. But I always like to take a look at like, where was my traffic coming from this year? What pages? And it was so clear to me that my traffic was not coming from social media. And I was putting a lot of effort into social media and a lot of money into Facebook ads until 2022 when I just almost totally stopped. And so I thought, I wonder if I just like blog more. The other place my email was, so I've like, where are my sales coming from? They're coming from email. And where is email coming from? It's very clearly coming from the blog. And it was also coming from bundles and collaborations, which I'd been asked to participate in a bunch, but never... It felt like a lot of energy to participate in. And so I never really sought it out. I would participate in, if somebody invited me to something, I would do it. Every now and then a summit, every now and then a bundle. And a bundle is just a collection of resources that people are either giving away for free or for a low cost and a big value. And that was my second highest source of traffic those collaborations. So I got curious around, what if I just focus on those two things? And this is also on the tail end of like posting on Instagram twice a day for a year, where my growth just totally stopped on Instagram. So I was like, we're not having a good time over here. Let's try something else. Let's see. Let's like actually lean into what the data might be saying. And that next year, it took me 4 years to get my email list to about 4,000 people. And it took me a year to get it to 8,000. And that was, I did do some sponsorships, but I did almost no paid ads.
Okay, summits versus giveaways. I think most people kind of understand, but if there's some nuances that maybe people who haven't participated in them, what do they actually look like?
Yeah, and I would even put giveaways in a different bucket. So there's summits, and I have a $9 course on this, by the way, but like summits, bundles, and there's giveaways. The two things I focus on most often are bundles and summits. So with a bundle, you can have a free bundle or you can have a paid bundle. Some people combine both. So I'll just kind of share what that looks like. So with a free bundle, I'm saying so I host bundles. So I'll host a bundle and I'll say my bundle, like the next bundle I have coming up is called the Sage Collection. And I am looking for people who have a product that's anywhere from $10 to $100, and they want to put it inside of this bundle, and we're going to give it to people for free. So this bundle will have anywhere from 20 to 100, or sometimes people do huge bundles, like up to 300 or more contributors. So we all offer a paid product with a coupon code. So in a free bundle, the way that it works for the user is they enter in their email address. So the owner of the bundle, the host, gets all the email addresses from hosting. The user enters their email address, and then on the thank you page, they get a list of products they can claim. So all of these are sales pages with coupon codes. So everyone who is inside of the bundle gets to grow their email list significantly. The host does a lot of work and chases kittens around for all their information for the last few months, and they'll get the most opt-ins, obviously. It's usually like a 1-to-5 ratio. And for a paid bundle, it's very similar, but you'll pay a fee. So you'll pay like $97, and then same thing, pay the $97, go to the page, the access page, and you can claim all the products you want by using the coupon codes. A summit is a much different event, and there is definitely some overlap, but a summit is more like a live event, a pre-recorded event. There's speakers and videos, and then usually a very common format for a summit is you have an event every day. You can also do tiny summits, but in a normal summit, there's like maybe 5 speakers every day for a week. You get access to that speaker's presentation that day for free. If you want the recordings of all the speakers so you can listen to them at your own pace, then you pay a fee for that. So pretty different format. As a contributor, I find I get a lot more opt-ins from free bundles, but I've just talked a whole bunch. I'm going to pause there and see where you want to go.
Well, what's the difference between a free bundle and a giveaway? Because I'm hearing they sound very, very similar.
I guess a giveaway is the same, but when I think of a giveaway, I think of a slightly different format, more tied to social than email, but I guess they are pretty similar.
Okay, gotcha. So you're essentially sharing lists, all promoting. The host gets everybody's contacts and when people actually opt in to get whatever they've contributed.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I'm curious because we're in a lot of these things, but sort of just like because people ask us and we're like, hey, whatever, we're not on the calendar, sure, like it's not like a serious strategy, if you will, for us. How have you really worked to leverage this in your business? Do you have like a really good nurture and upsell process? Like, where does this go for you? And are you seeing it better with low ticket, with high ticket, all of that?
If you're going to participate in bundles, you have to have low ticket offers. And so if you sell a high ticket offer, you just have to know that you need to give people time. So what I have found, like I've tried a few different things. Some people ROI and make a ton of money with tripwires. That has not worked for me as well. What has worked really well for me is like I like free bundles the best because free bundles have the fewest barriers. So maybe they're less qualified because they like free things, but freebie seekers buy coaching too. And so I like doing the free bundles because I get the biggest results. And then I will nurture people with a very generic welcome campaign that this is my favorite success that I've had. Nurture them to a campaign where they're going to my Facebook group and I have a free event planned. And that has worked really well for people to like remember who I am. I've also tried having I always have a tripwire, which is always worth doing because you always get some sales. But I don't like to sell in my nurture campaign anymore because I'd rather just push them to get to know me. My goal is they're getting 100 gifts or 20 gifts or whatever. My goal at that point is I want them to remember me. So I'm going to nurture them to the group, see my face, give you a lot of value, and then pitch for a sales call at that point. I've also tried just nurturing to a tripwire, even after in the welcome sequence. And I found that the open rates are great on those campaigns, but I get very few sales. I think they're just getting a lot of emails at that point.
Okay. So your goal is to generate the lead and then stay in front of them while everyone else is trying to grab their attention as well. Stay in front of them long enough to actually make a sale later.
That's my goal, is just I want you to remember me. And then I trust that the results will come later. And that's what works for me. Everyone is a little bit different, but I've heard people ROIing. I also like to sponsor bundles because often when you sponsor a bundle, even though it could be free to participate, they'll put you really high up on the page or at the top of the page, which turns out to be very helpful. And so I've done that a whole bunch. And even then, I often won't ROI right away. But I guess I did last month. But I feel like that was an exception.
So when you say you need a low ticket offer, what price range is that? Because a lot of people have different interpretations of what low ticket is.
Yeah, to participate, if you want to give free gifts away in bundles or summits or other collaborations, I would aim for usually, I would say $9 is often an acceptable minimum. $27 is always a reliable minimum. And then I usually wouldn't go above $100. Some people though will have if they're offering a paid bundle in addition to the free bundle, they're going to require a higher value. So they might require, it varies a lot, but I would say $97 to $300, and they don't want it to go too high and it has to stay in that range. And some people are pickier than others. So I'm not that picky when I host a bundle, and I like to keep mine pretty small. The biggest bundle host that I know of is Lizzie Goddard, and hers are the ones who have 330 contributors last year. It's called her Lizzie's Christmas Party, and she calls it a hybrid where she'll have a free bundle and also a paid bundle, and the value is very specific for each of those. But I think when you're managing, I cannot even imagine 300 people. I can't even imagine 30 people. I hired someone, as soon as I realized I was going to do this more often, I hired someone just to chase the kittens, which is all the little pieces of information that have to come together in the end. But I think the bigger your bundle is, the more specific you have to be on the logistics and the rules, et cetera.
So you're talking low ticket for the giveaway initially in those ranges. I'm curious on what you're looking to sell or book a call into afterwards.
Oh, I think anything. Yeah. So
anything? Okay.
So I think if you're selling, I think the general rules around selling low ticket versus high ticket apply. So low ticket, I think you can do a light launch without a ton of nurturing. You can if I have a client who's a creator who has low ticket offers, I generally will encourage them to either have an evergreen funnel in place, which could be anything from having a webinar to just having a deadline funnel where the price goes up. So for low ticket, I think there's a lot of flexibility. I encourage, before people are ready for evergreen funnels, I just say aim to do one sale a month or every other month. So get the people on your list, nurture them. For high ticket, I think you need to go to an event. So in a Facebook group or you don't necessarily have to go to an event, but you do need to go to a call. So another thing I've done in the past is I'll take some time after the bundle and then I'll do a big 5-day push to book a call where it's really heavy kind of sales, selling the call messaging.
So I think another big question people have is, where do you find these bundles or how do you find these things to participate? Because I don't know of any groups or websites that will tell you these things? Like how do you even get involved?
I think looking in Facebook groups is like the easiest thing to do. So even if you just look for bundles and you're searching for Facebook group, there's not a ton. So what was interesting to me, I've heard a creator say like a few years ago, like bundles are amazing and hardly anyone is doing them. And I didn't realize, because I'd kind of gotten in the circle at that point, I didn't realize there wasn't that many people doing them. And organizing them is a lot, but being in them is pretty simple. And you can grow your email list by 100 to even, if you're sponsoring, you can grow it to easily 500 or more people per bundle. But I think Facebook groups is like a very low tech, easy way to start. And then Leah, did I answer your question on the price point for low ticket versus, low ticket is like, yeah, under $1,000. High ticket is over that, in my opinion. I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because in my mind, I've seen some bundles in my experience where it was honestly a lot of people from other countries and other, not our typical leads that we generate. Like we generate US or English speaking leads that are in an economy that can afford a high ticket offer. And we're able to convert them into high ticket. So I was curious about if you've seen better conversions to lower ticket stuff, like quality of leads coming into, on the back end for people who are coming into giveaways. Because I've seen a little bit of it with a little bit of experience that I've had.
Yeah, I think you're definitely more likely to get a lower cost sale faster. But I think that's true with high ticket versus low ticket, especially these days anyways, that the funnel to get somebody to buy from you at high ticket is just takes more time.
One other question I had, I know this is kind of backtracking a bit, but when you're talking about blogging and the traffic that you're getting from your blog, you mentioned that it was very obvious that the traffic wasn't coming from social media. Where was it coming from then? Was it search, or was it from other people's websites? Was it backlinks that people had built to your website, or where was that traffic coming from?
Yeah, it was coming from Google search specifically. And then it was coming from the websites of the bundle hosts.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like I could see people were coming from Thrivecart but mostly the bundle hosts. And yeah, I had no idea that I was getting so much. I'm really bad at being on top of my data consistently. So if I'd been looking at it month to month, I would have been like, wow, I got a crap ton of leads from that bundle. I should do more bundles.
Yeah, and because I was curious, because I know like we dove heavy into SEO and trying to rank websites, and especially in our niche, in the online business, whether it's coaches, course creators, network marketing, affiliate marketing, whatever it is, it takes a lot of work to rank for any of even the long tail keywords are a lot of work to rank for. And even then, it's not really a ton of traffic. So I was really curious how you were getting that traffic, if you were ranking somehow or what you were doing. But yeah, that makes sense. If people are linking to your website from their own websites and people are clicking, then yeah, that would be a lot of traffic.
And for high ticket, you don't need a lot of traffic. So, most of my traffic goes to stupid blog posts I knew I could rank for. So like 53 powerful coaching questions, or like the meaning of, I have one that's like, is law of attraction biblical? That's one of my top posts now. I write about mindset and then marketing. But where I get the most sales calls from is something that has very, very low traffic, which is blog coaching. So most of my sales calls come from Google. They come from that, which has very, very little traffic. So that's the good news. But if you're doing services or coaching, you can have a blog, go for those long tail keywords. It does take a lot of effort, but that's where I was getting my sales calls from with my blogging for 2 years.
Was your full effort that you're putting in for the blog post then just writing it in a way that was keyword optimized, and then you're getting additional links to build your authority through all of the giveaways and everything that you're doing? Or was there anything beyond that?
I have pretty low authority. I did not work very hard at getting backlinks. So I do think I have gotten like a couple of backlinks. So I probably maybe 5 backlinks from the collaborations. Some of those pages go away after the bundle is gone. So I'm not sure how many of those are permanent backlinks. A couple are. But the most of my intentional effort was just going into content, like blogging, and then having SEO keywords. And then I will say, if you want to like drop my referral link for this, but RankIQ is like the best SEO tool that I've used. And for reference, I've been blogging since 2011. I've used a million tools. Google Organic was my top source of traffic And even so, like I started using RankIQ in November, and by January, my top posts were all since November. That's how fast I increased my traffic. And it just gets just a different, like RankIQ is specifically optimized for high volume. So the keywords that are getting me sales calls, they're like not even showing up as a recommendation in RankIQ, because RankIQ is really geared towards like those high traffic bloggers. But you can still use it it's just the best optimization tool I've ever used.
So is that a WordPress plugin, or is that just a software on some website?
It's a software. It was a software developed by probably, I'm sure he's a blogger, but I think he started as a blogger and then developed the software.
Okay, so you could use it for any website that you're, yeah.
Yep.
And what tips do you have for someone who wants to get into even just the giveaway space? Because I've seen it too, like when I've been invited to stuff and now I'm invited to more stuff because people have seen me and stuff. And it's kind of like this, but you got to get in the circle, right? Like, so any tips or just diving in on those Facebook group posts or?
Yeah, I think looking for Facebook groups that are specific to bundles is my first tip. I have a $9 course where I created a directory. It's called the Audience Accelerator. So I have like a whole like 10-page directory of like different resources to find it. But like the way that I started getting into it more, like Ultimate Bundles was what somebody recommended to me in like 2018. And I would just do that every year. And I didn't really know how much I was getting from it. That's a paid bundle. So I didn't grow my list quite as much, but I did grow a few thousand people over the next couple of years. But the Facebook groups are a really good place to start. And then it really helps, like, if you have a good quality, like most people will say yes, especially if they're not hosting, like the giant bundles are going to have more qualifications. So getting into Lizzie Goddard's bundle, she's got tons and tons of applicants. So she's going to be pickier with the large audience that she has. But there's tons of small bundles. There's tons of small summits too. There's someone named Wendy Breckstone who also has a Facebook group, and she hosts she created a method called the Micro Audio Summit. So summits can be very overwhelming to organize, but what if you just invited 5 other people and you each did like a 10-minute mini podcast on the same topic, and then the 5 of you were promoting it? Like that would be a very tiny collaboration. You probably grow your email list by a few hundred people. They grow their email list as well. But she has a Facebook group as well. So I'd say looking at those Facebook groups, and then if you have a high quality offer that's under $100 to $200, that will help as well. So make sure that you have a sales page that looks good, because that's like, if I go to a sales page and it's a mess and I can't tell what the product is, obviously it's not going to be a good fit. But otherwise, I don't think there's a lot of barriers to entry.
So this has been really helpful. It's even enlightened me and kind of getting some bigger perspective, because I think sometimes people get invited to these things and they just do them and they don't know what other people are doing or what the bigger conversation is or how other people are creating success with it. So very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
And you get to vet those opportunities too, right? Like when you get invited to more, you can say like, how big is the reach of this bundle? Have you done it before? Like, do you have an upsell? Can I be an affiliate? Yeah, I'm glad to talk to you guys.
I was going to say the other thing, like you mentioned, even just the smaller ones where there's maybe only 5 people in it, but you can grow your email list by a couple hundred people. If you compare that to like the cost of generating, building your email list to the same amount with paid ads, I mean, depending on your niche, like in our niche, that might cost, for 100 leads, it might cost $5 to $10 per lead. You could be saving $1,000, $2,000 just by participating in this one small little thing.
Yeah. I can't tell you the number of times I've been in a bundle and gotten leads for $1. And that hasn't happened to me since like 2017.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. So thank you so much. If people want to check you out, where should they head?
Yeah, you can go to AlisonReeves.co, and then I have a page on there, AlisonReeves.co/everything, where you can find out everything that I offer. I have a million things because I like to do a million things. And there's that $9 Audience Accelerator on there too, if people want the directory, which I think is really helpful.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.